The Quartermain family faces a shocking betrayal. The real will emerges. Port Charles erupts as Tracy discovers the truth behind Monica's will, revealing a scheme that threatens to tear the Quartermain legacy apart. When the real document surfaces, it becomes clear that someone wanted to play a dangerous game with one of Port Charles's most powerful families. The Quartermain mansion, a symbol of wealth, prestige, and family legacy, has always been more than just real estate in Port Charles. It represents power, heritage, and the foundation of everything the Quartermain family stands for. But on this fateful day, that symbol of stability is about to become the center of a scandal that will shake the family to its core. Tracy's shocking discovery, the real will emerges. For days, Tracy Quartermain had felt something was off about Monica's will. The document that had been read aloud seemed too convenient, too perfect in its cruelty. Monica would never deliberately leave the mansion to a stranger while her own blood family was cast aside. That simply wasn't Monica. No matter how complicated their relationship had been, Tracy and Monica had forged a bond that transcended blood. They were sisters in spirit, if not by law. As Tracy sifted through boxes of Monica's belongings at Lulu's house, reminiscing about family memories with her dear friend Lucy, she continued her meticulous search. Among the photographs, documents, and precious keepsakes, she discovered something that made her blood run cold. There, nestled in a folder, was another will, Monica's actual, original last will and testament. This can't be right, Tracy whispered to herself, her hands trembling as she held the document. The signature was unmistakably Monica's. The date was clear. This was the real thing. The implications hit Tracy like a thunderbolt. The will that had been presented to the family was a fake. Someone had deliberately forged Monica's signature and created a counterfeit document, a document that had already been used to transfer the Quartermain mansion to Drew Kane. Of all people, the very thought made Tracy's blood boil. The plot unravels. Ronnie's confession. Meanwhile, at the mansion, Ronnie Bardell was having her own moment of reckoning. She stood before Michael, with tears streaming down her face, finally ready to unburden herself of the guilt that had been weighing on her conscience. Michael had begged her not to sell the house to Drew. Carly had confronted her about her motives. Even Joe had questioned her judgment. I just can't keep lying," Ronnie began, her voice shaking with emotion. "Michael, you need to know that something else is going on here. I'm in way over my head." Michael leaned forward, his expression serious. "Ronnie, what are you talking about? Tell me the truth." But before Ronnie could finish her confession, the door burst open. Drew Kane entered, flanked by his lawyer, ready to finalize the paperwork that would make him the official owner of the Quartermain estate. He wasted no time in his typical arrogant display. Well, Drew said with a smirk, "Looks like I'm about to sign the papers that make this mansion mine. Soon enough, Michael, I'll be raising your children under this roof while you're left with nothing." The cruelty in his words hung in the air, and Ronnie's eyes widened with panic. She looked between Michael and Drew, and then at the contract before her. Her pen hovered over the signature line. "I don't think so," a voice called out from the doorway. Every head turned as Tracy Quartermain walked into the room, holding aloft the real will. Her face was flushed with righteous determination, her eyes blazing with fury. The truth comes to light. Tracy's entrance was theatrical, commanding, and utterly perfect. She held the document like a weapon because in many ways, it was the proof of the forgery. "This mansion belongs to the Quartermains," Tracy declared, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "Monica left it to me, not to Ronnie, which means that everything Drew has done, every signature, every agreement is based on a forged document." Drew's face turned pale. That's impossible," he stammered, his usual confidence shattering like glass. Ronnie's shoulders sagged with visible relief. She hadn't realized she'd been holding her breath. She looked at Michael with tears of regret in her eyes. "I didn't forge this document myself. I was being manipulated. Martin," she paused, the name falling like a bomb. "Martin changed Monica's will. He convinced me to sell to Drew. He said I owed the family something because I was new. I didn't know what else to do. Martin, Michael repeated, his jaw clenching. Martin Gray did this? Tracy's eyes narrowed. That miserable, scheming lawyer has been playing games with our family. Well, he's about to learn what it means to cross a Quartermaine. The investigation begins. With the truth now exposed, the Port Charles Police Department wasted no time launching an investigation into the forgery. Detective-focused officers began their work immediately, examining the documents, comparing signatures, and piecing together the timeline of events. It didn't take long for them to identify Martin Gray as the culprit. When confronted by the police, Martin's facade crumbled under the weight of the evidence. He sat in the interrogation room, looking far less confident than he ever had in a courtroom. Why? The detective asked, sliding the documents across the table. Why would you do this to the Quartermain family? Why forge a will? Martin's jaw tightened, and for a moment, silence hung heavy in the air. Finally, he began to speak, his voice bitter and laced with resentment. I hate them, he said coldly. I hate Tracy Quartermain. I hate that family's arrogance, their sense of entitlement, the way they think they're above everyone else. They've treated me like I'm nothing but a tool to be used and discarded. I wanted them to suffer. I wanted to see them lose everything they hold dear. He leaned forward, his eyes wild with the intensity of his hatred. Drew Kane offered me money to change the will, and I saw an opportunity. I could take away their precious mansion, their legacy, and watch them scramble. I could make Monica's death mean something mean that their perfect world came crashing down. So you committed fraud, the detective said flatly. You forged Monica Quartermain's signature. Yes, Martin admitted, and for the first time, something that might have been regret flickered across his face. But it was quickly replaced by his bitter resentment. And I'd do it again. The will is read, a new beginning. With Martin's guilt confirmed, and the real will now in the hands of the authorities, Tracy made the decision to gather the entire family together for a proper reading of Monica's actual last wishes. She insisted that everyone be present. It was time for the truth to be known by all. The Corinthos family, the Quartermains, and even some of the household staff gathered in the living room of the mansion. The tension was palpable as Tracy stood, holding the document, ready to finally hear Monica's true intentions. Before I read this, Tracy said solemnly, I want everyone to understand that this is Monica's real will. The previous document was a forgery, perpetrated by Martin Gray and facilitated by Ronnie, who was being manipulated and coerced. Ronnie looked down, shame washing over her features. Michael put a reassuring hand on her shoulder. She was a victim to. In many ways, Tracy began to read, her voice clear and steady, as she moved through the bequests a few personal items to various people, some charitable donations that Monica had cared deeply about. Everyone listened intently. Then came the moment everyone was waiting for. I leave my beloved home, the Quartermain mansion, Tracy read, to my nephew Michael Corinthos, in the hopes that he will cherish it as a symbol of family unity and legacy. To Tracy Quartermain, who has been my sister in all the ways that matter most, I leave my personal jewelry collection and my complete trust in her wisdom to guide the family forward. The room erupted. Michael looked shocked, tears immediately forming in his eyes. Jason, seated nearby, allowed the slightest smile to cross his face. Ned, who had been standing in the corner, nodded with satisfaction. Michael gets the mansion, someone whispered. Michael stood, his voice thick with emotion. I don't know what to say. This is overwhelming. Tracy allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. This was how it should have been. Monica would have wanted Michael to have the mansion, to build his own legacy within those walls, to raise his children there, to ensure that the Quartermain name continued to mean something in Port Charles. The fallout and the new questions. But as the reading concluded and the initial shock began to wear off, a new question arose in everyone's mind. Who had put Martin up to this? Had he truly acted alone out of pure spite? Or was there someone else pulling the strings? Martin said Drew offered him money Jason pointed out to Sonny, who had also attended the reading. That means Drew was directly involved in the forgery. Of course he was, Ned said bitterly. Drew Kane has been trying to manipulate his way into power since the moment he arrived in Port Charles. He poisoned Martin with promises of money, and Martin fell for it. The implications were staggering. This went beyond a simple forgery, it was fraud, possibly even elder abuse. Considering that Monica had passed away, there would be legal consequences for both Martin and potentially for Drew as well. Over the following days, as the shock settled and the legal matters were being sorted out, Michael took time to process what had happened. He would become the new owner of the Quartermain mansion, a responsibility he hadn't sought, but one he was now ready to embrace. It's a lot to take in, Michael told his father, Sonny, as they stood in the grand foyer of the mansion. This place has so much history. Monica's history, Alan's history, the entire family's legacy is tied up in these walls. You'll do right by it, Sonny assured him. You always do what's right, no matter how difficult it might be. Michael nodded slowly, looking around at the ornate decorations, the family portraits lining the walls, the physical manifestation of the Quartermain legacy. I want to honor Monica's memory by making this a home not just for me and Willow, but for the family. A place where they can gather, where they can remember that we're bound by more than just money and property. In the end, the truth about Monica's will had emerged. A conspiracy had been exposed, and justice had begun to take its course. Martin Gray faced charges of forgery and fraud. Drew Kane found himself under investigation for his role in the scheme, and the Quartermain mansion, that symbol of family legacy and power, had found its rightful heir in Michael Corinthos. Tracy had emerged from the ordeal stronger than ever, having protected her family's interests and ensured that Monica's true wishes were honored. Though the family had weathered yet another storm of betrayal and scandal, they had survived. The Quartermains, it seemed, were made of stronger stuff than anyone, including their enemies, had anticipated. But in Port Charles, as any longtime resident knew, peace was always temporary. Before long, another crisis would emerge, another secret would surface, and another chapter in the never-ending saga of the Quartermain family would begin to unfold. For now, though, justice had been served, and the mansion belonged to the right person, someone who would cherish not just the building, but the legacy it represented. In a world where power, money, and family secrets collided on a daily basis, the Quartermains had proven once again that they were a force to be reckoned with. And as long as there was breath in Tracy Quartermain's body, she would make sure her family's legacy endured. Next, we will learn about the sizzling slow-burn romance brewing between Cody Bell and Molly Lansing Davis, the pair that's captivating fans with their unexpected chemistry. In the whirlwind world of Port Charles, where dramatic twists and heartfelt connections define every storyline, Cody Bell emerges as the rugged, free-spirited cowboy who could finally unlock Molly's guarded heart. Molly, with her sharp intellect and unwavering dedication to her legal career, has long embodied the archetype of the no-frills professional, prioritizing justice and stability over spontaneity. Yet, beneath her composed exterior lies a woman yearning for adventure, someone to inject levity into her meticulously ordered life. Cody, with his easygoing charm, quick wit, and penchant for harmless mischief, represents the ideal counterbalance, promising to draw Molly out of her shell through shared laughs and impromptu escapades. Imagine the scenes where Cody's playful banter coaxes a genuine smile from Molly during a tense courtroom break, highlighting how his lighthearted nature could transform her daily grind into moments of pure joy. Reflecting on Molly's romantic history adds depth to why this pairing feels so destined. For more than a decade, she shared a profound bond with T.J. Ashford, a relationship rooted in mutual respect and shared ambitions within the medical field. Their commitment deepened when they pursued parenthood, turning to Molly's sister, Christina Davis Corinthos, as a surrogate to carry their child. The anticipation built as they envisioned family life, with Molly meticulously planning nursery details and TJ balancing his residency demands. Tragically, the unimaginable happened. Christina suffered a heartbreaking miscarriage, shattering the dreams they had nurtured so carefully. The grief was overwhelming, straining their partnership as unresolved pain led to emotional distance and constant arguments over how to cope. What began as a solid domestic partnership frayed under the weight of loss, culminating in a mutual decision to part ways. In hindsight, this heartbreak paved the way for growth, allowing Molly to rediscover herself beyond the role of grieving partner. Now, observing her tentative steps toward Cody, it's clear this evolution was necessary, freeing her to embrace vulnerability without the shadows of past sorrow. Enter Cody Bell, the enigmatic stable hand with a mysterious past and an infectious zest for life, who has been weaving his way into Molly's orbit through chance encounters at the Quartermain estate and casual coffee runs. Their interactions sparkle with unspoken tension. From Cody's gallant offer to fix Molly's flat tire during a rainstorm leading to a soggy but flirtatious conversation about life's unpredictabilities to his bold invitation for her to join a horseback ride at the stables, where he shares stories of his rodeo days that leave her intrigued and amused. Unlike the rushed entanglements that plague so many Port Charles couples, Molly and Cody's connection simmers gradually, building through layered conversations that reveal their compatible values amid contrasting lifestyles. The actors, Holiday Krasner as Molly and Josh Kelly as Cody, deliver palpable sparks, their on-screen rapport evident in lingering glances and subtle touches that hint at deeper emotions. We've witnessed near kisses that heighten the anticipation. Once in the dimly lit hospital corridor, after Cody supports Molly through a grueling case, only for a page to interrupt. Another during a quiet park bench chat, halted by an incoming call from Alexis. These moments underscore the deliberate pacing, allowing their bond to deepen organically rather than exploding into passion prematurely. What makes Cody and Molly a standout duo in the soap opera landscape is their harmonious opposition, a classic yin-yang dynamic that enriches both characters. Molly's reliability shines in her role as a fierce district attorney, methodically dismantling corruption with evidence and eloquence, yet this intensity often isolates her from lighter pursuits. Cody, on the other hand, brings sociability and goofiness to the forefront. Think of his clumsy attempts at cooking Molly's favorite Vietnamese pho as a thank you gesture, resulting in a hilarious kitchen disaster that ends in shared laughter over takeout. His endearing quirks, like whistling old Western tunes while grooming horses or pulling harmless pranks on the Quartermain staff, inject fun without undermining his loyalty. Together, they create equilibrium. Molly tempers Cody's impulsiveness with thoughtful advice during his family dilemmas involving Max Scorpio, while he encourages her to attend a local music festival, where she unexpectedly dances under the stars for the first time in years. This interplay not only humanizes them, but also offers a refreshing narrative arc, exploring themes of personal growth through partnership. Fans have noted how Cody's presence softens Molly's edges, revealing a playful side such as her teasing him about his cowboy hat collection that makes her more relatable and beloved. A pivotal highlight in their budding romance was the glamorous nurses' ball in May, an event that showcased their compatibility under the spotlight. Molly captivated the audience in a sleek red gown that accentuated her elegant poise, the fabric shimmering as she glided through the crowd, exuding confidence born from her professional triumphs. Cody, her unexpected escort, cut a striking figure in a tailored tuxedo, his usual rugged attire traded for sophistication that highlighted his broad shoulders and warm smile. He was visibly awestruck, confessing in a private moment how her beauty left him speechless, a rare admission from the typically self-assured cowboy. Their dance floor chemistry was electric, a slow waltz where Cody's hand rested gently on her waist, their eyes locking as the orchestra played a romantic melody, only for the spell to break with applause. This scene wasn't just visually stunning, it symbolized their evolving trust, with Molly allowing herself to lean into the moment rather than overanalyze it. Off the dance floor, they shared whispers about future dreams, Cody hinting at stable expansions, Molly musing on work-life balance, further solidifying their emotional foundation. Adding to the intrigue, Michael Corinthos offered Molly invaluable guidance during a family gathering at the Metro Court as she confided her confusion over these new feelings. Michael, drawing from his own turbulent romantic history with Willow and Sasha, advised her simply, immerse yourself in his company to clarify the heart's signals. He elaborated that true connections reveal themselves through everyday shared experiences, not grand gestures, urging Molly to schedule casual outings like a sunset walk along the harbor or a game night with friends. This counsel resonated, prompting Molly to initiate more interactions, such as inviting Cody to review case files at her office, where professional discussions seamlessly shifted to personal anecdotes about their upbringings. Michael's words highlight a broader theme in General Hospital, the value of patience and love, contrasting with the show's history of impulsive pairings like Sonny and Carly's early volatility. By following this path, Molly's journey with Cody gains authenticity, allowing viewers to invest in their progression step by step. Looking ahead, the potential for Cody and Molly's first official date tantalizes with possibilities that could redefine their trajectories. Picture a cozy dinner at a seaside bistro, where candlelight illuminates Cody's earnest compliments and Molly's unguarded laughter, perhaps interrupted by a sudden storm that strands them together, fostering deeper confessions. Spoilers tease escalating closeness, with Cody defending Molly against a workplace rival's sabotage, showcasing his protective instincts, while she supports him through revelations about his Scorpio family ties. Their undeniable synergy, her grounding presence stabilizing his wanderlust, his joy awakening her sense of wonder, positions them for longevity amid Port Charles chaos. As they navigate these waters, fans eagerly anticipate the moment they acknowledge the spark, perhaps sealing it with that long-awaited kiss. Cody and Molly aren't just a couple. They're a testament to love's slower, sweeter path, promising heartfelt drama and triumphant romance in the episodes to come. This evolving storyline reminds us why General Hospital excels at crafting relationships that mirror real-life complexities, blending vulnerability with vitality. Cody's influence could lead Molly to pursue hobbies like horseback riding, expanding her world beyond courtrooms, while her insight might help him confront lingering insecurities from his transient past. Inventive plot threads could involve a joint investigation into a stable theft that tests their teamwork, revealing hidden strengths and forging unbreakable trust. Ultimately, their union offers hope, illustrating how opposites attract and thrive, much to the delight of devoted viewers rooting for their happily ever after.